Good afternoon, everyone. It is about 6 minutes after 3. Welcome to this workshop of the Temple City Council. First thing is public comments. Do we have any public comments?
No, sir.
None. We'll move on to the next section, was to discuss as may be needed any regular meeting agenda items for the meeting posted for Thursday, May 2nd, and that should read consent items. So does anybody have any questions on anything on the consent?
I have a very quick update on item J and seeing this one, tell you a little bit.
Good afternoon, Council Mayor. As you'll know, we've been working with management on developing a natural gas. I'm sorry, I'll let y'all get it. Enjoy it.
Go ahead.
Okay. We've been working with Waste Management for several months to develop a gas rights agreement for renewable natural gas. As most of y'all probably know, solid waste breaks down, it releases methane gases, other gases. Those are commonly referred to as landfill gas or LFG. It actually can't, we're currently flaring it off, but it can actually be captured and essentially converted into renewable natural gas that can then be sold like any other natural gas. So Waste Management with their lease operations agreement had rights to this gas. So they decided to go ahead and move forward. And so we have reached that agreement, just a little bit about it. The term of the agreement is for 20 years. It will begin essentially, it will go into effect tomorrow, as long as y'all approve it tonight. They're working on building the facility. Its estimated commercial operations date is June 30th, 2025. At least that's what we're anticipating. And they will be solely responsible for the production, sale, and distribution of the RNG. In return, they actually will pay us a monthly fee, which will be the greater of $25,000 or an amount calculated per an industry standard formula that we've set forth in the agreement. So at least $25,000 a month, hopefully more. And because this was kind of a new territory for staff, we decided to engage outside counsel to help us negotiate this agreement, because there's a lot of technical terms, and we felt like it was best to bring on somebody who does this on a much more regular basis and understands these types of agreements. So we engaged Lloyd Gosselin, specifically Jeff Reed. He is online. If y'all have any questions pursuant about the agreement itself, the legalities. We also have James Smith from Waste Management here. If you have any questions on the actual technical processes, things like that about landfill gases into renewable natural gases, lots of acronyms. So happy to answer any questions that we can answer. Turn it over to y'all.
I just have some curiosity questions, mostly. So this methane, how, obviously there's a commercial market for it, right? 25,000 a month is the minimum required payment. So there's something out there, and there, like, what kind of volume is out there? Just out of curiosity, is it able to be used like propane? I mean, can you run a vehicle on it, or?
Well, it'll connect into Atmos's facilities. So
Okay.
it'll be essentially marketed.
Mixed in with,
Again, I'll kind of let Mr. Smith maybe answer that part a little bit more on the ins and outs of the gas. That's why we make
sorry,
That's good.
none of this makes any difference. I'm just curious.
We scheduled this for curiosity.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And
There's an estimate.
as some in this room can very well attest to, we could talk about this for weeks. However, I'll give you.
You don't have that much time.
Yes, the landfill produces methane, or it's one of the constituents of the landfill gas.
Yeah.
As the waste ages, it's a bell curve. Of course, we're on the uptick of that bell curve.
Right.
And it's like adding, I guess, bread to meatloaf or something.
Okay.
We can clean that gas up, take the moisture out, take the nitrogen out of that gas, and just put it right into the natural gas pipeline. There's other things you can do with it. This was the best option. Waste Management, we've been looking at this for years. We had to wait till we got enough volume. You talked about that. Right now, we're about 2,200 cubic feet per minute. Is the volume that should grow as the landfill grows up to 3,000 or 4,000. So there's more, and your payments are based on that flow. It's based on the price of natural gas. This is
Sure.
the biggest, and I'll leave it short here, but the biggest variable in what Waste Management receives off the project, what Temple receives, there's RIN credits, which is basically a tax credit from the government. That's what's making everything grow right now. We don't foresee that tax credit going away anytime soon. So your payments should be much greater than $25,000 a month whenever this thing kicks off. Now, we do have 2025 is a date in the agreement, but we're looking to get this thing online by the end of this year. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
does.
if you got any more?
How do you know where to harvest it? Does it settle into pockets? Do y'all create pockets so it settles?
No, of course, when we process the trash, put it in place, that hill is just one big mound of trash. Of course, we have to cover it daily with
Sure.
things and all that. So we have a series of wells all through the site, and I don't know, we probably got over 100 wells now.
100, about
It's like
167.
Yeah, it's like a natural gas well field where you just put wells in the landfill, create a vacuum on the landfill, and just extract that gas.
Capture it.
And over the years now, we've been just flaring.
Yeah.
Because it's a greenhouse gas. We have regulations. We have to control that. So it's a waste to having to go through that flare. So the economics, is the perfect storm right now to do this. That's why we move forward. And it's quite an extensive capital. Yes, 45 to $50 million project
Really?
just to construct it. So if any of you guys or ladies and gents want to go out and look at it, it's about probably 2/3 completed right now, the building. It's a big project. So anyway, we look forward to it.
Very interesting.
That expenditure that you just mentioned is your
Yes.
expenditure to build?
Yes.
Wow,
It's that's why the economics had to be right.
I can understand.
Yes.
Mayor, another thing you could do is build a steam turbine out there and just keep flaring the gas and run steam turbines and have a little mini electrical plant out there. But Waste Management is already experienced with compressed natural gas stations, so they operate them already. So that's what they do.
So this isn't a new venture
No,
at all.
it's a sort of new, in the last 2 or 3 years, it's a process we're using now. Prior to that, as Don said, we ran these big engines with generators that produce electricity. Those tax credits went away, and that's not a very lucrative deal right now. So this process is much better, and we see it continuing to be good.
Yeah. Interesting. Great. Catherine, anything else? Staff, anything else?
Catherine and Christina, they did a lot of work.
They did.
Getting an agreement. And hopefully I'm not out of line in saying, that if there were opportunities where Waste Management could invest, and so it was important for us to move forward and work closely with them so that they would choose to do that investment here. And
That whole
and we
team.
were successful, so
Yes.
thank you,
Yeah, no,
you
no,
both as well.
no, thank you all, because it was quite good. Appreciate it. We get-
Well, thank you all, and thank you to Mr. Reed, who was online. Without some of their expertise, this would have been probably a little more cumbersome for us. With the steep learning curve when we first started looking into this and learning about this.
It was a big project for sure, and we did have a big team on both sides ultimately, but I have to say, even though technically we're adverse to each other when we're negotiating these, overall, I mean, everybody did work really well together to make sure that this was going to be a good project for everyone. So.
And not only this project, but we've been operating your landfill for years. I've been here 22 years now. Worked closely with the Tracy and Don and all the solid waste team, and it's a great relationship, and we want to continue that. So
Yes.
anyway,
Very
appreciate
good.
it.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to say thank you all for letting me help.
Thank you, Jeff.
Y'all don't have any more questions for me, I'll get out of y'all's way.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
y'all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's pretty cool. Not done. All right, next is to receive a update from communications and marketing. Thank you. You're up.
Oh. Hi, welcome. I'm just showing a trying to see, I guess it's the start, wait, actually, boom, 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 there you go. Okay. Good afternoon, council. I'm gonna start with an update of our org chart today. I just wanted to point out a couple empty positions that we have in our department. We are currently looking to fill a position here in our destination marketing division. The sales and marketing specialist, Diane Jones, retired after about 12 years with the city. That team or that position is responsible for bringing sports tournaments, meetings and conventions and things into Temple, and really just selling Temple as a great place to host those type of things. And then our PR specialist is also vacant. That's one of our positions that works really closely with the media and does some of our community engagement events like our Black History Month ceremony, the Hispanic Heritage ceremony, and then the Veterans Day ceremony, as well as some of our ribbon cuttings and things. So other than that, we do have one new person on our team. I think from last time I talked to you all, up here in the top right, Chris Shepard, he is our new video and photo videographer, photographer. So if you've seen some of the recent videos we've been doing, he's probably had a hand in those, but he is extremely talented, and we're super excited to produce more and more videos for the community. And I'll talk a little bit about what he's working on as it relates to that specifically.
Susan, that's who made the video I just showed you.
He's the one. That's what I thought. He made that boat.
Oh, yes.
It is wonderful.
Yes.
And his wife works for us in finance.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's
Very
wonderful
talented
too.
people.
Good,
Yes, absolutely. So we're excited to have Chris on our team.
very good.
So if you look here at the org chart, you'll notice that there's 4 navy blue squares. Each of those navy blue squares is basically a division. And I'm going to talk about each one of those divisions and kind of what they've been working on, what they've accomplished, and then what they have upcoming. So we will start with the marketing and digital media division. So this division handles a lot or all of the city's internal communications in partnership with people operations. But also they do, as part of that, they do the hiring event and the job fairs. They attend job fairs. So just to briefly go over some of those, we held our first hiring event in the fall last year of 2023. Ambry Dunn, one of our, I would say new, but I guess she's not new anymore, but she manages all of those and she does an amazing job. But for some stats, we had 307 attendees when we held it for the very first time ever, which I feel like is a really, really great number. Staff who were present for that, there's a picture there of the Mayborn Center table. But amongst everyone that we conducted 30 interviews, 6 offers were made, and then we actually hired 10 people from that event. The second time we did it was just last month in March. We had 367 attendees, so attendance went up, which is great. Staff was able to conduct 6 interviews, and then we made 3 offers at that event. The next time we're looking to do this, we hope to do this twice a year, and the next one will be in September.
That's a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to be funny.
Okay, if you are.
6 offers made, but 10 hires. How'd you do that?
6 offers
In the
made.
first hiring event?
That's a great question.
Did they
And
do
what
that?
I can say is we do marketing, not math.
Well, I thought maybe somebody bring.
But I don't know,
I think the intention was that 6 offers were made, conditional offers were made that day. The person left with an offer in their hand, you know, then they
But
have to
overall,
do.
we captured 10.
And then, yes, and then 4 others were hired because of that hiring event, but didn't leave that day with an offer in hand.
Precisely.
Well, but Heather, on the second hiring event, there were more attendees, but fewer interviews conducted.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
that mean attendees were lesser, what were you were looking for?
Yes, sometimes I think they just want to come in and be weak. I think the staff kind of read the room and see see, put their feelers out. But yeah, I was curious about that too. But we always encourage all the departments, all the tables. We have spaces for them to conduct interviews in as well. And we also have people operations on site. If some people just want to come and fill out an application and then leave. So it's just kind of
Sure.
what they feel like.
But the city offices that are attending this and hoping to find employees feel like they're seeing people that are useful, worthwhile doing.
Yes,
Good.
yes, we've received a lot of really great feedback from the
Good.
departments. And so they look forward to it, I think,
Good.
and they're all excited about the next one as well. But as far as external events, because Ambry not only puts on the hiring events, but she also attends external job fairs in the community. In March, she attended the Cadence Bank Center Spring Forward hiring event. She attended the Temple College Possibilities Job Fair also in March, and that one is for high school graduates, college students, and then young adults with disabilities. So that one's focused. And then the Graduate Pathways hiring event, which was a recent high school graduate hiring event. She also went to Fort, or is planning on going to Fort Cavazos in June for the Spouses Job Fair, which they do, I believe, once a year. And then for the Mega Job Fair, which is also a once a year hiring event. Over on the right-hand side, that is some of our internal communications things that we've worked on in the last quarter or so. The new employee welcome packet is basically a pocket folder that employees are given on their first day of work or their first visit to people operations after they're hired. It's part of the onboarding process, and it has useful information in there that they can find on the intranet, and it's available online. But we felt like it was a little more personable and a little more welcoming as part of the onboarding process to supply them with information such as the pay dates, the holidays, employee perks program, employee wellness information. And so we're really excited about that. We worked with people operations on that. The newsletter, Ambry Dunn also puts that together. It's called the Inside Track. It is a really, really great digital magazine that I think staff really enjoy. They look forward to it. We have a game every month that Ambry puts together, and there's a lot of engagement with the game. It's kind of staff can help use it to stay updated with information and everything, of course, but I think it also kind of gives them a break from whatever it is that they're working on for that day. And then employee texting is something that we are working on just to try and reach more and more people within our employee base. And so people operations has that as a budget request, I believe, for FY25. So we look forward to working on that with them as well. As far as recruiting goes, another part of Ambry's job is to help departments fill empty positions, and she works really, really closely with people operations to do that. But we recently began utilizing a tool on LinkedIn called the Recruiting Tool. And basically it allows Ambry to go in and headhunt and look for certain skills, certain types of education and things like that to help fill some of these more difficult to fill positions. Along with that, Ambry has worked with the Parks Department and Chris on filming a Parks recruiting video to try and draw some attention and awareness to the jobs that they're doing and the open positions that they have. And then we've worked lately with PD on updating. JTPD is Joint Temple PD. So we've worked with them recently and continue to work with them on making some updates to the website and then getting some new photos and videos as well, especially since some of the people, since we did it 2 or 3 years ago, however long it's been, are no longer with the department, and they've also updated their badge and patch since we had the last photo shoot with them, video shoot. With Parks and Recreation, we've been working really closely with them. This is Garrett Simmons in my office. He is kind of the person to work directly with Parks and Rec, but we've been working with them on WebTrack. So if you've ever had to register a family member or someone for one of our programs on our Parks website, it is a little bit challenging currently. So we've been working with IT and Parks and Rec to make that a little bit easier for the user, to make things easier to find, just to make the overall functionality more improved. But also not only the registration site, but also just the website, templeparks.com. There's improvements that need to be made there as well. And we are really, really excited. Parks has the a new position, executive support coordinator. And she's gonna kind of act as a marketing liaison with our group, and also help to kind of oversee some of the web pages. Because it is a challenge currently, but we look forward to those improvements and making it easier for our community to find things. Play-by-play, so generally we do 2 issues a year for the Parks and Rec Department. But we have this season, rather than doing a full issue, we decided to target it into a summer guide. And we did a digital summer guide that has everything about splash pads, aquatics, like swim lessons, when the water park is opening, becoming a lifeguard, all of the summer activities, summer camp. And that has, Garrett actually did that by himself. Our graphic designers didn't even do that. And he did an amazing job with that for them. We also updated with the reimagination of Bloomin' Temple. Bloomin' Temple had a social media presence, and so we have updated that page to a Temple events page. And so we'll be posting all of the Parks and Recreation events on that page, but then other events as well. And so hopefully the community finds that useful and shares that among the various groups in our community as well, for more people to find out what events we have going on. And then heavy Airfest coordination right now, that's the big talk of the town, I think, in the department. And with Garrett is just getting all of the Airfest promotions out there and then working on all of the sponsorship commitments. For Library and Museum, one of their big goals currently is the summer reading program. And they had 869 people register last year, and they're hoping to beat that this year. So this is Brenda in my department. Brenda is the one who kind of handles the library and museum marketing efforts. One of the things that she has talked to Natalie about and they're working on is more posting on Nextdoor. Nextdoor has just as many subscribers as Facebook does, maybe even a little bit more. So it's actually a really great tool, and we're going to start using that more for the library and the museum. And then we've begun to shift our advertising efforts, not only for the library and the museum, but also for Parks and Recreation, and focus more on, if y'all will recall in my budget request presentation, the advertising dollars that I requested for the specific facilities. So we're going to be focusing more on advertising the facilities and the amenities of the facility, the benefits of the facility, rather than specific programs, just for a more comprehensive strategy. So we'll be doing that for the library as well. The museum recently started a newsletter, which I think is great. And so Elizabeth, their new assistant director, I think has kind of helped with that. And then my next slide is the new commercial that we recently did. And I believe Chris got all of this footage that you'll see in the video. Kelly, I don't know if you do it or I do it. Thank you. Yeah. So I put 30-second at the top, but it's actually a 15-second spot. Can you click out for me? Sorry, it's not working. Thank you. Okay, so for police, fire, and Heart to Home, we've been working closely with PD on their annual report and getting that together and updated and designed and laid out. We also work with them and their new PIO on attending any promotion ceremonies or other events that they might have where they need photography and where we want to gather photography. We recently did a video for them for the eclipse that did go viral. It was very popular. People loved it. So we worked on that with them and had a really fun time. And then lastly, they had a really great idea, their cops unit, of doing a carpool with a cop. In which basically, if you've ever seen like carpool karaoke, it's kind of like that, but nobody's singing. Don't worry, Chief. I think it's mostly just them kind of in the car answering questions that the community has previously submitted. So hopefully that builds out the engagement there. For Heart to Home, Animal Adoption Center, we do have, I think I mentioned previously, maybe a new Facebook and Instagram page for them. They do have a volunteer group over there at the shelter that has a very active page as well. So we are collaborating with them and really trying to partner and leverage that relationship. Doggy Day Out, this is like one of my favorite things that we're doing. It was Alexis's idea, who I forgot to mention. Alexis and her team is the one who manages police, fire, and heart to home advertising and marketing. But it was her idea to go and work with the animal shelter staff or the adoption center staff and choose a dog to take out for the day, and kind of, not literally for the day, don't worry. But film, different activities that the dog can do. So take them to Starbucks for a pup cup, take her to the park, take them to, Petco, or I don't know what they do, but so it's, a few different clips of showing the dog's personality, rather than, behind a chain link fence or something. So, we really hope that shines a spotlight on some of the dogs, and Alexis is really great too at thinking of, I've kind of challenged them to think specific with everything, but especially with Heart to Home, since it's so new for us, to think of out of the box ideas to promote the animals and everything that the adoption center does and animal services does. For fire, we're working with them on a Rescue Elves fundraiser that might hopefully become an annual tradition. PD does the Blue Santa golf tournament every year to raise money for Blue Santa, and so we're hoping to get something going for fire, and we're thinking maybe Clay for a Cause could become a thing. Shooting clay out at Weber. So we're working with fire, the special events team, and Tracy and athletics and Parks and Rec. She's helping us helping fire kind of organize this, but we're just having some initial discussions about that. And then this picture, it might seem random on this slide, but I'm really proud of it because fire, we recently redid fire's hiring event table. Prior to the backdrop and the signage and the cool swag, it was just kind of plain. Thank you. I didn't want to say anything offensive. Boring, plain. But anyway, we updated it. Chief let us have creative direction over that, and it turned out amazing. And I'm really proud mostly of the mannequin. We're trying to think of a name for him. But we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a mannequin and put some bunker gear on him? And surely that's going to bring people over. They can use that at any hiring event that they go to.
He's going to be the star of the firefighter calendar that everybody keeps talking about.
Nice. Trigger warning.
No. Doggy is the star.
Yeah.
And talk about dogs.
Kind of creepy looking.
Don't look him in the eyes. Don't make eye contact. And then for the city, this is Brittany in our office. George Strait Post. So David Olson had a great idea of, with the All My Exes Live in Texas song, maybe we do something fun with Dimples down in Temple. Got the law looking for me. Everybody know?
What?
You want me to sing it?
Yes.
There you go. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. And so anyway, I was like, yeah, David, that's such a fun idea.
Well, where's David? He comes in, he needs to come in and sing it.
That's
So-
true.
So there's a line in the song, so George has all these exes in Texas, so he has to
Oh, I
live in
do know the
Tennessee.
song.
And so one of the lines is, that there's Dimples down in Temple
Oh,
who has the law looking for me.
Mhm.
So this is where David's idea comes in.
So yeah, so David just had this idea of, I don't know what we should do, but we should do something kind of like with this song and, make it a thing. So we talked a little bit more, found out George's birthday is on May 18th. We brainstormed internally, and I went back and I told David, we're going to do something. You watch out. We're working on it. The challenge was trying to figure out how to tie it into the city of Temple. Don't worry, we have an idea. I'm not telling you what it is. You have to tune in on May 18th for the delivery of the video. But it's going to be a really short, kind of spoof video. It'll be comical. It'll be fun. Maybe George will comment back in the comments. Maybe he'll come to Temple. We don't know. I don't want to start a rumor.
you just did.
So yeah, George Strait Post. Happy birthday, George. You're welcome back to Temple will be kind of the premise of the video. Chief will be in the video, pardoning him. We will have for legal reasons. This is not real. He was concerned that George might have active warrants in Temple. He was like, do we know that?
You used to spend a lot of time in Bell County.
I think that's probably Willie.
So anyways, it'll be a fun video for our community.
The question is, were there active warrants?
I'm curious.
He said he can't legally check.
Unless I've got a lawful reason.
Oh, that's right.
So I will not be pardoning him.
We're putting
Not
fine
having that
print.
authority either.
We're putting fine print in the video for legal reasons. So.
Where's Dimple?
That's who we need.
Yeah. we need dimples.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it's not me.
Well, never mind, I'm gonna.
I'm gonna, no, I'm an offer person, not George Strait. What is Dimple?
It's like, the name or nickname of an ex of George Strait, allegedly.
I do know the song. I got it.
Dimples, she probably had dimples, somewhere. I think on track. I have to stay on track.
Trigger warning, trigger warning.
Sorry, I should have led with trigger warning. Okay, so aside from the George Strait post, Brittany is also overhauling the marketing and digital media division SOPs. She's also working with Nancy's group, the Housing and Community Development Department, to redo the application and I think make it more user friendly. Nancy's group is super busy with all of the neighborhood engagement events for Love Where You Live. So Brittany plays a really big hand in that as well, as far as promoting those events and trying to help them communicate it out. We are working with the planning and development team, because one of our goals is to post more new businesses coming into Temple.
Saw the Chick-fil-A post.
Yes.
A lot of traction.
Yes, it was, and it was mostly positive.
Yes.
With the car wash in the background of the image that we posted, I was a little nervous, but it worked out. It was
found a negative poster for the brand, but.
shocker. Okay, so we are hoping to post more new businesses though coming to Temple. Customer care and the utility business office. So we're working with Heather Mikulas on that, the 311 initiative and kind of a communications plan and helping them to recruit some people at the upcoming hiring event. We'll be working with them on that. And then the new payment portal that recently went out, we worked with them on that, on a communications plan. Purchasing, we're working on a preferred print vendor just to make our lives and everyone else's lives a little bit easier when it comes to printing. And then lastly, we worked with the airport on the new award-winning flytemple.com, which is the airport and the FBO mixed together. Have you all seen it? It's okay to lie. You can say you have, if you haven't. But if you secretly haven't, please make sure you go and look at it. It really is such a great website, and I'm really proud of it. Temporary wayfinding signage, we're working on it. We just got a final quote back, I think on Tuesday maybe, to make a temporary signage before the big project out there happens. And then lastly, we've been promoting the airport lunches that the airport is doing. Oh, I spent a lot of time on that slide.
Getting much traction on those lunches? Are you getting a regular crowd? Not yet.
I would say yes to a regular crowd for sure. I didn't go to the one that was on Saturday though. I've been to the weekday ones.
Yeah.
But I heard the turnout on Saturday. No, I heard the turnout. The turnout on Saturday, it was very windy. So that could have affected it because
Sure.
it was nuts. But I'm not sure what the attendance was. This is just a quick look at the work that we've done as it relates to branding the Temple Executive Air Center, the new FBO, and we're really, really proud of the work we did on this. The left side is a rack card, the right side is a flyer, and we created those for Andrew, the FBO manager, to be able to take to various conferences and workshops and things. The bottom is a digital web ad that we have going with the goal to visually show that we're kind of right in the middle of the country. For quick turns, that's airport lingo.
I remember right from airport board, Temple's at least one of the biggest stops for fuel between California and the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. We love that. And so we tried to make that visually where if you're, surfing the net, you can easily capture that message. Okay, on to the next division. So this is communications and public relations. And again, this team is primarily the managers of media relations and community relations. So as far as community relations goes, They did some grand openings. We had some ceremonies. So we had the Heart Tone grand opening in January, the Black History Month ceremony, and District Tune Review in February. That both went really well. The Eclipse Town Halls, we worked with emergency management, and Jennifer Henniger held 3 of those, which also went very well. Media Mixer, so this is a new thing for us. It is an event, a casual event, where we are inviting our local media partners to come and just meet with us, just work on building relationships, having conversations. But we also have what we call our reporter packet. And it has information on who are your best points of contact as a reporter? What is the process for requesting an interview? If you have questions, what's the best way to go about that? Has information on city council meetings and lots of really good information. So we'll pass those out to any media who come to that event, but we're hoping it's successful. Again, with the goal of just to build relationships with our media and put faces with the names and things like that. Upcoming is the 4th Street Parking Garage grand opening, which we'll be working on here in the next couple months. And then the groundbreaking for the golf course clubhouse renovations, which we're super excited about. And then the Discover Temple team will be attending the Baylor Scott and White Community Showcase on June 27th. External events. So this is just some other outside events that we've been a part of. We've attended a couple career days. We attended the Salute to Business back in January. We also did a presentation at the Neighborhood Leadership Academy in February. And then in March, me and Teresa went and spoke to the Bell County Retired School Employee Association. For the Eclipse, we did lots of communication. We did all the things. And I'm really, really proud of the amount of work that we put into communicating with our residents, how to be safe, how to properly view it, and where events were held in Bell County. We communicated that in various different ways. We even developed a web page for it back in 2023 and just kind of kept adding stuff to it as it became closer. But for the website metrics for that page, 13,000 people from March 18th to April 8th visited that page. And then on the actual day of the eclipse, on April 8th, there was a 171% spike, which is interesting to me. I guess people saved the website and then revisited it on the day of the eclipse. I'm not sure, but we're excited for that number. We also worked with the county PIOs. We were meeting with them maybe once a month leading up to the eclipse. And we Temple created BellCountyEclipse.com, and we encouraged the other PIOs and the other communities to use that if they wanted to, if they didn't have their own landing pages. Hotel outreach, so Discover also did some work, obviously, on the eclipse. They did lots of work. Part of that work was they distributed 1,600 glasses to the local hoteliers for any visitors in our community to have access to. And then they also did some local outreach and gave out 3,400 eclipse glasses. And an example of that would be downtown businesses. They passed out glasses to them as well. But they worked really hard on the website and built that out, Discover Temple. I know we're in PR, but I combined them. So for PR, some new projects and new initiatives. Bryn is doing a From the Desk of the City Manager section in the city newsletter. And I say council section as needed. So if you ever feel like you want to write a blog or two, or if there's something that you want your district to be aware of, maybe not a full blog, just let me know and we can work with you on getting a little section added, maybe somewhere in the newsletter. But we did add Bryn's section, and I'm really excited about that. I think your first one was the eclipse. Your second one went out yesterday over pavement and roads. We are creating a career day presentation for departments to be able to use when they go to elementary career days. We're working on the Let's Talk Temple webpage and hopefully a GIS projects map that the community can easily navigate to and click on different projects and find various details on those projects. Along with that, Let's Talk Temple initiative, we're also currently doing a video series. I think we've done 2 or 3 now where Noelle will give project updates or facility updates on the major projects happening in Temple. And we also, there's an educational component to that as well. So we hope to do more on pavement management. These are specific topics that have been mentioned to us to help with educating our community on pavement management, traffic calming, and then if there's any other things, we'll focus on not only updating the community on projects, but also educating them. For Behind the City, this is a new video series. I think we've only posted one so far. The goal is to do one every month. The first one was water treatment. That one's already been published, so hopefully you saw that. I do have a clip here after this slide though. The goal with this video series is to humanize the city and really show people the faces of the city staff who are dedicated to serving the community every day, but also education, just educating the residents on the processes that the city has to take for various reasons, for different services. So this is a really, I think, a 30-second or minute clip of Behind the City.
This is Behind the City, a new video series that highlights all of the important work that is happening here in the city of Temple.
What we do is fundamental for everyday life.
Some people have said that they can taste chlorine in their water, or that their shower water sometimes smells like chlorine. This is why.
Oh, you did something wrong.
Oh no!
Knowing that what I do here, it's part of something bigger.
So the actual video, I think, is about 4 or 5 minutes, but I did not ever feel bored. I get bored really fast, and I don't have a really great attention span when it comes to like digital media, but I watched the entire thing and I was engaged the whole time. So if you haven't seen it, check it out on our Facebook page. It's a really great video. The next one that we're releasing is solid waste. So this slide is a really beautiful family holding our new welcome home packets. And so the idea with the welcome home packets is that if you sign up for a new utility account at the City of Temple, you will receive a welcome packet sometime in the next few weeks. So all of our new residents, new people moving into Temple will receive this. And we work with the UBO, and they send us that mailing list every month. So we just started this, I think, 2 weeks ago. So the first batch went out. So we're really excited about this.
Kevin?
Yes, sir.
I was just looking through that is, have y'all thought, or maybe you've done and I missed it, a magnet for what
I
you
think-
recycle?
There is a magnet. I'm not sure if recycling is on there though, maybe
I
not.
was putting something in there today and I couldn't remember if it was supposed to go in there or not, so I threw it in the trash, but
We do have a magnet for recycling. We
Is
might
there?
need to
I
update
thought I
it.
saw it. I thought I'd seen it.
We
I
used to
mean,
have one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we definitely used to, but we can look into that for sure.
You know, the new brochure that you sent out on recycling, what can go in where and take it out there or down on Saturday. I took a bunch of stuff down there on Saturday, and there was a guy there and he had absolutely no earthly idea what I was talking about from Public Works, and there was no specific place to put the, you know, the bubble wrap and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe it hadn't quite started yet.
Was it the event that we were doing or?
No, it said
Okay.
take it down to whatever, you know, recycling, like one little glass.
Yeah, okay. I can
Am I
look into
reading that
that.
brochure wrong?
I cannot pinpoint in my brain right now which brochure you're
Well,
speaking
that's
of,
okay.
but I would be happy to look at it for you and follow up.
Well, no,
More than happy to do that, because I definitely don't want wrong information out there. Recycling brochure, recycling magnet. So these are some KPIs for the PR division, for city and PD. 74 media inquiries received for the city. This is from January to March, by the way. 21 media releases disseminated, 18 media interviews, and then you can see the significant increase for PD media inquiries. Similar media releases disseminated and similar media interviews as compared to the city, but they have a lot of questions for PD. Destination marketing, this is a 30-second or 15-second spot that Chris just produced, and so this should be playing soon on a TV near you.
Discover Temple. Discover the outdoors with golf, hiking, or a day on the lake. Shop for home decor, fashion, unique gifts, and vintage treasures. Experience wine bars, craft brews, live music, and entertainment. Fuel your adventures with the flavors of local roasts. And indulge in exquisite culinary creations, whether downtown or about. Discover Temple.
I thought he did a really great job with that one. We're excited about that to start. The next thing I have is the Day Tripper for destination marketing. I'm sure you all saw back several months ago, we were running the contest, vote for Temple. And ultimately we were chosen as the city for them to air the finale episode for the season 14 season. So these are just the locations that they featured for that Day Tripper episode. And we're not sure what episode, we're not sure what day they're gonna air this, but we do know it'll be in May. They were here in March to film. The award-winning Temple ticket. So I'm sure you've all seen the digital magazine that Discover does, the Temple ticket. They are really excited to start working on some evergreen issues that also have dedicated landing pages. We recently released a Meet in Temple one, which is good for meeting planners, meeting organizers, and people wanting to bring meetings to Temple. We just published, not about a week or so ago, give or take, a dogs issue. So that one's really cute if you're a dog parent. And then a downtown Temple issue is also coming soon. And then for the spring issue of the Temple ticket, these evergreen issues, but the spring issue, we had almost 15,000 impressions on that one. So that's really, really great. We're proud of that. Sports marketing, Discover Temple is also working on that, following the sports marketing strategy or strategic plan. They've created a landing page, discovertemple.com/sports. I won't pull that up for you now, but if you want to check it out later, it's actually really well done. They did a fantastic job. As part of the sports marketing strategy, they did identify 3 targeted categories for us. And so we focus all of our marketing materials and our website and everything on those. It's softball, baseball, soccer. And then we're also working on developing some videos to showcase the amenities that our fields have, such as turf, fencing, lighting, all the things that sports tournament organizers want to know before they choose a destination. And those will be posted on the Discover Temple sports site. The Discover Temple team also participated in some sales activations over the last few months, and Day for Women, they attended in January. Bliss Bridal, they were also there with their table. They also attended in January. January is a busy month for these gals. The Southwest Showcase. And the Southwest Showcase is really big in Texas, and that's where kind of all the exhibition managers, meeting planners, and different associations visit to see where's the premier place for me to host my meeting that I'm going to be planning. The Texas Travel Expo as well, that is coming up in April, and this is a similar thing as well.
You mean a year from now, April?
Yes. Yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's fun.
I think they also attended this last
This
time, but we
past
do it every year.
Oh, okay.
So economic impact, this is the projected amount of impact generated by the destination marketing team. And this is slated from October last year up to September this year. So we do anticipate there to be more impact coming in. But for right now, it is projected to be at $838,460. And you can see the breakdown in the sports impact and the meetings impact. And we base that off of projected room nights that the sports organizer and the meeting organizer give us. So this is Caitlin Neal. She is our new downtown coordinator. She is from, yes, sir.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Peel back one, that economic impact number, is that just the amount of the 3,700 nights generated like across Temple or in revenue to the city?
I believe revenue to the city, but I don't.
That'd be hotel motel possibly?
It is hotel motel.
Usually, economic impact studies like that are the full.
General.
All the way across the board. Yeah.
What some, what
Food.
But I don't know if specific for that, we'll definitely check and get back with you, but usually that number comes in both.
Yeah.
What's generated from sales tax and hotel motel tax, but also what's generated to local businesses.
I know that we've talked in the past about figuring out a way to get a closer number, and I think there's some sort of electronic
Place where you-
computer program or something out there that's available. I just, as we talk about, during the budgeting process, we talked about the economic impact of, softball tournaments and those different things, and whether or not you should turf the field. And if you turf the field, what that would cost and what that would bring, what kind of economic impact that would have, et cetera. So it'd be nice, at some point, if we can really drill down and make the decisions, not necessarily make the decisions, but just be more informed about it as we think about future decisions. How's that?
Yeah, I think that's more than just hotel motel revenue. I think that's
That's food and
Yes,
all
I'm
kinds of
sorry.
stuff.
I think I misunderstood your question. It does include overnights, but it also includes what they might spend shopping,
Yeah.
what they might spend eating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then, Bryn mentioned Placer AI. That's a tool that we, are looking at, or actually, I think it's currently in the business plan for FY 25, to bring on, we anticipate that destination marketing will be able to use it for purposes of knowing where people are coming from, how much they're spending in our community, where they're spending it, how long they're staying, that kind of information.
Yeah.
But also Parks and Recreation will have a use for it when making those types of decisions on improvements to make at various facilities.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
And what that's saying there too is one room night generates $226 of revenue for the city.
Right. Spent somewhere.
Per person or room period?
Just
Room, meaning that's what you get
Yeah.
in sales tax,
Right.
hotel motel
right.
tax, different.
Okay, so Caitlin, our new downtown coordinator, we're excited to have Caitlin on our team. She came from City of Pflugerville, so she has city municipal experience, which is always a plus. But she has hit the ground running. So with that experience, she can hit the ground running, and she absolutely has. She's been actively meeting with all of our downtown businesses, passing out her contact information. She's even held some meetings with some of them already just to kind of get to know them. But really what she's working on now, what we're kind of having her focus on is that stakeholder engagement plan that I talked to you all about at the end of the year. And working on kind of an action plan. So right now we're looking at doing a couple surveys, and then potentially even a workshop, but also meeting one-on-one and potentially some focus groups as well. So she's working on that, developing a plan. And then once I get that kind of finalized, I will be sharing that with Erin. But we are on track from the original timeline as well. So we're making sure that we stay on track with all of those initiatives. Some other things though that she's working on next to simultaneously with the stakeholder engagement is updating our banner or creating and finalizing a banner program specifically for downtown. And then she has started on the Texas Music Friendly program and has reached out to to a couple stakeholders to see if they would be interested in serving on a committee. And then working on some downtown event ideas, which is really exciting because most of her background, she was in the city manager's office for a time, but her experience before that was special events. And so we're excited to have her on the team to help with downtown events and bring more of those. And she's also working really closely with Holly and her team and the park special events team as well for that type of thing. But she has some really good ideas, and a downtown resource guide, a small business guide was one of her ideas, specifically for if someone is wanting to open a business downtown, kind of what their steps would be, what they need to know, who their point of contacts would be. So she's got a lot of really great ideas, and we're excited to have her on the team and excited to move forward with some of our plans. Creative Services Division, this is the last division. We are going to be we've actually had one internal staff training already. It was over the Adobe Creative Suite, but basically the idea is everybody in our department is so knowledgeable and has so much expertise and experience in various topics So we want to share that knowledge and that information with the rest of the department. So we decided to formalize some trainings internally. I think we hope to have them, once every 2 or 3 months or so. But these are kind of the focus areas that we want to start with. Like I said, we did the Adobe Creative Suite. So that looked like the graphic designer, bringing in the marketing people. And while they know a little bit about Adobe, they're not nearly as experienced. And so just passing on that knowledge and helping the employees grow as well. The next one will be over using a camera and even using an iPhone camera and how to make, the best with what you have, because you don't always need a big camera to get really great photos. And then also video best practices, video editing and things like that, and then design. And then I'm sure more will snowball from this, but we look forward to starting this internal training series. Creative Services not only does, branding and graphic design and photos and videos and make stuff look really pretty, they also have helped several departments with various facility design and branding internally of the facility, kind of the user experience. What do people feel when they come inside this building? What do they see? And so we helped or assisted with the Heart to Home Animal Adoption Center. And we look forward to helping, like I mentioned earlier, with the clubhouse and also the resource hub upcoming. For branding, we worked on the Santa Fe Community Market logo, the Central Texas Air Fest, which I have a whole slide on, just that I want to show y'all because I'm really proud of it. We kind of killed it on that one. And then the 311 call center, like I said earlier, we'll be working with Heather Mikulus on that. Petals and Pints, which is going to be the new kind of spring event in 2025. Rail Yard Music Fest, and then the Holly Jolly Christmas Fest for this year. Rail Yard in 2025. So I like to point those out. I don't remember if I've shown you on the slide with all of the great branding from Heart to Home, but just in case I haven't, and even in case I have, I want to show you again because it's that good. I'm so proud of it. We did a really great job. And those murals on the right, or those decals on the right, is an example of how we kind of transform the inside of the building and kind of that user experience with design. This is the Central Texas Air Fest branding. I'm sure you've all seen it out on social. Sydney, who is our Parks and Recreation graphic designer, knocked this one out of the park. This logo, the branding, everything is absolutely amazing, and she did such a good job. So I just kind of wanted to shout her out and talk about how proud we are for this branding, along with the kind of new reimagined air show as well. So for graphic design KPIs, this is also the first quarter. There were 176 project requests, 114 projects have been completed. And then what I like to highlight on this slide is the amount of deliverables. So there was 114 completed, but that is really 362 deliverables. And the reason that's like that is because the way that it counts it is in our project management system, it calls it a task. But one task, one project might have several subtasks with it. If you think of a campaign and working on a campaign, you might have an event with 20 different deliverables or whatever. So that is a lot of work in one quarter for 2 people. And you can also see it kind of broken out by department as well. I think I have a few more slides left that are just general department updates. PD recently hired their PIO, Sydney. Her name is also Sydney. And so she's been great so far. We worked with her for a week or so on training her in communicating with the media, public relations, responding, media inquiries, just different things. She caught on really quick, and we're really excited to have her over at the PD. And next on my bullet, I have the quarterly regional PIO meetup. So this was a lunch meeting that I, a few years ago, worked on getting set up with just our local PIOs from the school, other cities, the county, and I like to meet up for lunch with them every now and then. And so I just like you all to know that we are in regular contact with our partners' communication teams. I am serving on the TAMIO Awards Committee, the Texas Association of Municipal Information Officers, and also the 3CMA National Conference Planning Committee. And the national conference this year is in Arlington. So I'm really excited to work on planning, because I always have ideas for things. And then currently we are working with various departments on the development of a community support policy and an employee solicitation policy. Like I said, there's a lot of different departments involved in that, and that will just serve as a guide for city staff and other team members when we're working on sponsorships and getting donations and things like that. And then lastly, this picture in the background is of a UMHB event marketing class. And I have a really good LinkedIn relationship with the UMHB marketing associate professor, and the PR, one of the PR professors there. And one of them reached out to me and said, hey, do you mind if the event marketing class comes over and you guys just present to them on marketing events? And so that's what we did. It was me, Noelle, and Lindsay, and it went really well. And they said that I don't know, we have an open position in PR. I don't know if they were just trying to get some kudo points, if they were planning on applying for the job, or if they really did believe and think that that was the best presentation they received all semester, because that's what they told us. They really, really enjoyed the information that we shared with them. So that went really well. For awards, we did apply for the new employee welcome packet, or we submitted the new employee welcome packet. And we did place as honorable mention, and we only lost out to Goodwill of North Georgia for, I think the category was internal communications. But we did place, and we did really, really good on that, and I'm super proud of that award. Everything else, GSM Con, NAGC, GSM Con, we've applied for 4, haven't heard back. NAGC, we applied for 12, and we are finalists for 3, which is the Fly Temple website, Alert Temple Communications Plan, and then the Temple ticket. Cameo, we have not heard back yet, but we applied for 17, and we should be finding out next week. So maybe we'll go 17 for 17, I'm not sure. And then lastly, 3CMA, those are actually due May 10th. So the team is working on those now, and I think we have around 15 that we hope to apply for. So next time we chat, I'll be able to provide y'all an update on where we placed on those. And then lastly, we conducted our annual media training with city staff. And then that went really well. We made some changes to it this year based on some feedback that we got last year from staff, and I think it was well received. And then we are also planning on doing a departmental training for any city staff who would like to attend, just to go over our department, what we do, some of our processes, and go over kind of best practices on social media, branding, graphic design, things like that, that people have a lot of questions about. And I believe that is the conclusion of my presentation. Thank you very much. I even cut out some slides, believe it or not.
This is a small thing. Could you go back one slide?
Yes.
Should the City Temple logo be on that podium?
I
That
think
looks
they've actually
super
gotten, yes, I would agree. I think they've actually gotten new podiums.
There.
They have a black acrylic and a
Not
clear.
too heavy for Jessica to pick up, by the way.
But they don't have a logo on them at all. They're just acrylic, modern, clear. One's clear and one's like black. Clear. So yes, thank you for pointing that out.
That
And it's not
that needs to go in a museum somewhere. The original Maven Center.
You could make it a
podium.
pillow for her.
Probably weighs about 400 pounds. Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Council or staff? Maybe not staff, I don't know. Council, any questions for Heather? That's a lot.
What was the comment?
That's from Brian. Brian feels very strongly that we got the lyrics.
Oh, sorry,
But we need to
Brian.
move on from that.
Yeah.
He's getting hung up.
Chief,
Thank you.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. I'll try to get through. I think there's gonna be some stuff at the end you're gonna really want to see. So just first off, just going over our org chart. We are authorized for 129 people in the department. 116 of those are in operations, 13 in admin, and that does include 1 overhired firefighter position. Currently, right now, I do have 1 open position And we do have a conditional job offer out for that one at the moment. That person just needs their fire academy and their EMT. So we don't have school starting until June, and that's why that position, we don't have him actually on with us yet. But he will start enough time to get into that first school opportunity in June.
What's the over?
So it's an extra position we're allowed to have and to be ready for a person to leave in case we do have an unexpected departure. That does happen from time to time, not a whole lot with us. So normally most of ours are planned out several years ago. So.
Because, firefighters, typically have to go through 2 months of training before they're ready to actually be, assigned to an engine. We try to do the hire before the person that they're gonna fill is leaving, so that person is in training while the position is still filled. So that's really where the overhire period is, when you have someone up over and above your authorized positions because you expect someone to leave, and then that person, after they've exited training, to be in that spot. There are times when they finish training and the position's not vacant yet, and in those times, they just provide extra coverage, reduce overtime, but
Generally, they're in training, the overhires in training.
that is the intent of the overhire position. And we also have historically done that with police, except for the fact that we haven't had an overhire in police in a very long time. But if we could, we would. We've done that occasionally. We really have standing policies with both chiefs that, they're allowed to overhire to a certain amount, and then obviously come to us if there's a special circumstance, which has happened a time or two, that I can recall over the last few years. But we've done that occasionally too with solid waste, and then some other administrative positions that we know someone's leaving and we want a period of time where the new person gets to work beside the person who's leaving. So it's temporarily adding the position while you're ready for someone to process out.
And we'll probably be looking for 1 or 2 extras above what we have right now for this upcoming, because we do know we have at least a couple leaving that are planning on retiring, and just to get those folks in there and get them in their training, get their training underway before that person actually departs us. All right, so 2024 incidents, FY 2024. So this is from October 1st. Right now, we're right at 7,540 of those. Of those, the fire breakdown, everybody likes to hear about these. So we've had 12 cooking fires, 34 building fires, 34 vehicle fires, 24 brush fires, which is down significantly from the past couple of years. And it's because of all this great rain that we're having right now. And then 59 rubbish or dumpster fires, and then 14 others that just can't be categorized into that for some reason or another. So 177 total fires. So if you just kind of take an overall look between total incidents and apparatus responses, this is a several year look at that. We're at 7540 for the year, and if you double that, we're going to be over last year. So we're going to have another record year as far as calls and requests for service. But we're also, and then if you look at our responses, 8913. Again, if you double that, we're going to be over last year, and so again, a record number of responses going on. And as I kind of talked about during budget, we are seeing increases in call volume every year, and we're seeing increases in the complexity of the calls. And again, we'll be talking about one of those here in just a few minutes. So one of the reasons why I think that I'm a little off on that, we've got some new reporting software, and when we were cutting over in October, some of our runs didn't copy, so you can see we're kind of down in October. I don't think we were up around 1,500, but we were closer to 1,500 than that. And so we're working on trying to get that corrected. And so the next time I come in and report to you guys, I will have the correct number there. But you can see we're averaging around 1,500 calls per month, or responses per month. And so again, we're very busy out there, and you see the big red trucks running around a lot of times during the day. This is by stations, and obviously Station 1 is still number 1 with their number of responses. Vast majority of those are medical responses. 3 is up next, which 3 is out on Midway Drive. On our third position is station number 4. That's the one on Waters Dairy. Then station 2 is right after that. That's the one out on Avenue H. And then, believe it or not, station 5 is up, then station 2, then station 7. And 7 has been moving up since I got here. Of course, 7 is Far West Adams. And so we're seeing a ton of new runs and responses out there. I think that's just because of the growth that's occurring on that west side. And so just the Chick-fil-A from what everybody was talking, I got a feeling 7 is probably going to pass 2 very quickly. So as far as our business plan for this year, we've been really diligent in trying to get all of that going. As you can see, a lot of those items are complete. We've got 2 things that we're still working on. Our building collapse shoring that we've talked about a few times, and the mayor got to see firsthand. It's on order, and we're just waiting delivery on that. And then we're awaiting a couple of trailers for our UTVs from Fleet.
The mayor saw the shoring because of his daughter's house.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So we put that replacement ladder truck in service in March, and several folks from here or in here were at that push-in ceremony, and we sure appreciate everybody coming out and participating that day with us. We did it as an open house and invited all of our industrial partners, and we had a lot of them filter in, have lunch with us, look over the truck, look over the station. And so it's a really great day, and we had a lot of fun out there with the new apparatus and with the industries coming by to see what was available to them there just around the corner. We do have a replacement fire engine that's been on order now since the spring of 23, and we're expecting that in the winter or spring of winter of this year or spring of 25. Still not 100% sure when that thing's going to arrive, but we're really hoping for January of 25. Station alerting system installs are going right along. We've kind of hit a little bit of a snag on a piece of software from the CAD vendor. And so, but I think we've got all of the hurdles jumped now. And so we should be pushing along, but we're still hoping to get that completed in June or July of this year and go live. We do have a couple of fleet fleet vehicles on order. And then, of course, I don't know if they've started yet while you guys were out there for the budget retreat or not, but the training center work is well underway. They are moving a ton of dirt out there. And so we're very excited about getting that driving pads, the trailer storage, the drafting tank and the simunition building going and built. And so if everything stays online, I think they are due to have that done in December of this year. But in talking with the contractor and watching how fast that they're going, I really think that they may make it right before Thanksgiving be completed with it. So very exciting for us to get that done. And if you look at some of the pictures here, one of our budget requests that we've already received and started doing some training with is a portable fire extinguisher trainer. This is where we don't actually have to set something on fire. And we can actually train folks. And so here what we've done is we've set it up to simulate a fire in a kitchen. And of course, that's Santos. They're teaching proper technique on that. And we've been able to use that several times already. And it's been very, very beneficial. And of course, we're not dependent upon weather at all. We can do that anywhere. We can set it up and have a fire simulated and block an exit way. So we can make people think about, how are you going to get out of here? So there's a lot of different things we can simulate with this new piece of equipment. Heather talked about the mannequin, and there he is again in all of his glory, standing there at the booth. And then if you saw the fire that we had out at Mars Pet Care back a little bit ago, we got a new drone this year with a very sensitive infrared camera, and it was actually up flying. It actually helped us find the fire in the tower there as the crews were looking for it. Obviously, those towers are very hard to find the fire in, and so we were able to pinpoint that and go straight to it by using the drone and the infrared camera. So it's really been beneficial to us, not only on a search and rescue type operation, but also in fire operations. They're also flying it regularly at structure fires, looking for hot spots or other issues that maybe aren't apparent to the naked eye out there. So solar eclipse, obviously, and Chief Reynolds gets a little upset with me when I say this, but obviously the solar eclipse for us was very much like a Y2K thing. Nothing really came of it. But that was a good thing. We really did a lot of planning. Jennifer was fantastic in her planning and prepping us. We had the EOC all up and running. You see, this was the EOC. I know Mayor came out for a little bit, and we were ready for anything that would have happened. We had our portable cameras up. We were monitoring everything, and like I say, luckily nothing transpired that day that caused us to go into crisis or emergency mode, and everybody got to enjoy the eclipse. One thing I did see on Sunday as I was out kind of roaming around looking at how things were going, this is Walmart on West Adams. They actually had 2 full gasoline tankers sitting in the parking lot ready to go. And so when I saw that, I ran by the Walmart in Belton, and they had 2 also. So they were like us. They had prepared for a lot of fuel usage. And I really think what drove everything was the weather. The weather forecast was pretty dim for us being able to see it. As a matter of fact, if you listen to most of the forecasters, it was going to be completely overcast and we were not going to see the eclipse. And I think that really drove a lot of people out of town.
So, do you know of any communities that did get a huge overrun? You know,
Yes.
that obviously had clear views, but
Yeah, there was a lot of different communities that did. Probably closest to us that I heard about was Burnett. They had a big festival down there, and they had traffic trying to leave that festival for hours upon hours. But yes, several communities did, and we have talked to some folks in Arkansas, and I think a lot of folks went to Arkansas to try to see it because they had very clear skies. And they literally had, people, like I say, trying to leave for 10 or 12 hours out of some of those places. So, yeah, I think it was just the weather that drove our poor attendance here. So probably the funniest thing I saw online the whole time was this one right here. So how do I keep my cows from looking at the solar eclipse? And at first I kind of thought that was a joke, but I think they were actually serious about how do I not have my cows look at that? So. I don't know. And I didn't see any cow or dog or anything else related solar eclipse classes, so I wouldn't have known what to tell them. So I did this one for COVID, and I decided I was going to do it for the eclipse as well, and I did fix it from Tuesday.
And ask Brian, he's got to fact check it.
Yeah, so I as a matter of fact, my staff was like, "What are you watching?" I actually went back and watched the video a couple of times this morning so that I got the terms correct. When I did it the first time, my granddaughter was watching this movie about 10 times a day. And so I didn't need to go review it, but I haven't seen it in a year or two. And so I kind of got off on it a little bit on when I did it for the department head group, but this is the actual way that it should be written in there. So anyway, with the eclipse being over, this is the last time that Jennifer and I are going to talk about it. At least I hope. So here we go. The next thing is our Administrative Assistants Day. We just celebrated that with our administrative assistants, and we've got 3 great ones. These ladies are really the backbone of the administration department, and we sure appreciate them. They keep all of the admin staff on task and on track, and they do a whole lot of work for us. And so, again, just want to recognize them and point out how much we appreciate them, so that you all know that they are a huge help to the department. And then our truck push-in ceremony, again, great day, a lot of great participation from everybody, and a lot of the crews are really appreciative of this new apparatus. And this is the very first fire was on, is the same one we used the drone at, which was at the Mars Pet here. So back in January, we did some tanker shuttle training. So as we've talked about a few times in council, we've got some water challenges as we start to annex and go outside the city. Some of our neighboring water systems are not adequately built to provide fire protection water coverage. And so if we can't get it from a fire hydrant and from the municipal water supply, we have to haul it ourselves. And so we put together a class and put that on back in January with several of our neighboring departments using tanker trucks like you see here in those photos. And so what we did was we filled it at the south boat ramp of Temple Lake Park. We transported it all the way out to the peninsula, and then we pumped it back into the lake. So we were hauling about a mile is what that worked out to back and forth across there. And we were able to sustain a flow of just a little bit over 500 gallons of water per minute, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're hauling it by trucks, that's really pretty good. And this is also, it's, kind of goes hand in hand with the budget request for us getting a tanker as well. So that if we do need to haul water in some of our new annexed areas, we have that capability in-house as well as from our neighboring partners. Because when you go to do one of these shuttle operations, you need multiple apparatus to be able to haul that water to keep that water flow going. One or two of those will not do it. So we had a promotion and badge fitting ceremony last Friday. Promoted Captain Ray, driver Fulcher, and then brand new firefighter Kincanis. And that was a great time. It's always great to watch folks grow in their careers or start a brand new career. And so Mayor Pro Tem Walker was out there and helped us with that one, and we sure appreciate her attendance. So we always talk about a lot about fires and other things, but I wanted to talk a little bit about our special operations responses as well. So this is a training we did up at Cargill. Most industrial complexes are not built for firefighters or not built to remove people when they're injured. And so we have to get very creative sometimes on how to get folks out of dangerous situations. And so this is one of the ways that we would do this. So if you were at the top of one of the Cargill towers, this is how we would get you down. And you can see we would use a stairwell. The stairs are too steep for us to try to carry someone down. So we would actually lower them via Stokes basket and rope setup that we would build out there in the stairwell. And as you can see, we're bringing someone down the outside of it if we have to. If they're all the way at the top, we just bring them down the outside. And there's actually one of our guys that's in that basket going over the edge of that. So that it's not a dummy or the mannequin. It's a real firefighter. But we do that so that, we have practice with folks and everybody gets the actual requirement to tie those folks in correctly, secure them, and then know the real weight of what a loaded person is. Because it's impossible to simulate that with a mannequin or a dummy or something. So. All right, so I know everybody's heard about this one. And so this is the accident out on 36 back on Saturday. So roughly a 350,000 pound demethanizing tower is what I understand it is, being hauled on about 100 axle trailer. There's, I think the investigation into how the accident actually occurred is still going on. So I don't want to talk about that much, but basically the load became detached during an incident and came to rest on top of a vehicle. In the vehicle, there was still one gentleman that was alive when we arrived at that. And so we immediately went to work trying to remove him from that vehicle. This was a very dangerous and unstable site and situation. This thing was just kind of hanging precariously by a few chains and one mount on the truck still. And then the rest of the weight was either resting on the ground, as you can see back here, or the actual vehicle itself that it had trapped. So in order to try to stabilize this and to keep it from rolling, tipping, or further crushing the occupants in the vehicle, we took our struts, and I know you guys have seen these a couple of times. Like I said, we use them over at the mayor's house and on some other rescues. You've probably seen them, but we took these. They're called struts. We made purchase points in the ground to where we could connect those, and then found just different spots around this item, which there was no good places to grab onto it with. So we created some and grabbed that. And you can see we've got about a dozen of these things out. Now, each one of these in compression, straight up and down 90 degrees, can hold about 50,000 pounds. Now, when we put them at this angle, that starts cutting down that weight carrying capability. And then when we put in these stakes, which are called pickets, those are only good for 700-800 pounds, depending upon, again, angles and stuff. There's a lot of math that goes into this to figure out how much you can actually carry. But suffice it to say, everything we had on the vehicle was not enough to hold that piece of equipment if it decided that it was going to roll over or come off the trailer the rest of the way. We do not possess enough stuff to hold that thing up. And I don't think we could transport it. We would need several tractor trailers full of stuff to be able to hold something like that. So again, The guys got out there, they stabilized this thing. We used several chains from the vehicle itself, the transport vehicle, attached to guardrails. We used 4 or 5 different big rotator wrecker cranes. And then we used these different devices here in order to stabilize that as best we could. And you see right here, these folks, they're actually working on the vehicle, trying to remove or extricate the person out of the vehicle. They're literally, and I know you've probably heard us say, it's dangerous, and there was a possibility someone's going to get hurt. If this thing rolls,
Yes.
to be quite honest with you, we're all dead.
Yes.
I mean, it's just that simple.
Oh my God.
And I had Chief Reynolds called a gentleman out there from Meta to help us. He was in charge of their crane division. He got there, he kind of looked it over and he said, Chief, he goes, this is bad. He goes, you need to get out of there. He goes, you need to get away from it. And I told him, I said, look, I get it, but this is what we do. And that's exactly what we do. We put ourselves in kind of dangerous situations to help people. These things here, I mean, just to be honest, they were there to give us an extra 10 seconds to get away.
Oh.
If this thing started to go. That's what they were there for. And they were there. They were, like I said, we were trying to stabilize as best we could, but if it would have fell, I mean, we're all realistic enough, and we all knew they weren't going to stop it. And neither were the tow trucks. All of the tow trucks together weren't enough weight to stop this thing if it started rolling.
Chief,
Something like that need to be on our road. I mean, something that large, shouldn't it be,
it's a good one.
transported in pieces?
So my understanding is from these is they can't, that it has to be, put together. And I've read up a little bit on it now. They weld these things together and then they bake them at a high temperature for several hours to basically fuse everything together. And so my understanding is that's the only way that they can do that process is in special ovens and stuff. And I've seen these go through town before. I just never paid that much attention to them because I didn't have them sitting on a car.
It's really up to the state.
Yeah.
Hey, Chief, back up one.
Should that have been on the road? I think.
Are is this the car under there,
It is.
those wheels?
I love show.
The car was.
It did roll in saying
Yeah, it was
yes or
pretty
no,
squishy.
that that's a good idea or a bad idea. It was a permitted load. So.
Okay.
It is a question.
All right. Again, just I want everybody to understand the fantastic work that the fire department, the police department, Temple EMS, just everybody that came out there. We had Baylor Scott and White emergency room physician, Dr. McGraw was out there helping us out. We had a surgical team from Baylor Scott and White out there. The tow truck folks here, Ward's Towing, I think Temple Towing, Groans, which is from up in the Waco area. All of them, I can't speak highly enough about how well they did. So we got a gentleman here from Georgetown. We did call in Georgetown and Colleen to help us out and bring us some more struts so that we could help stabilize some more. Again, I just can't tell you how much effort and how incredibly brave they all were, and how incredibly proud I am of every single one of them. I mean, they all did an awesome job, and they knew the risk, but they were still there. And it took us about 4 hours and 20 minutes to get the gentleman out. We have received great reports on his recovery, and so he is expected to make a full recovery, and so that's awesome. And so that's very helpful. But anyway, later on that night, we did have to get the thing still out of the way, and so we had a couple of cranes come in. This one here that you can see on this picture is a 600,000 pound crane. This one here was on the front side of the truck and trailer, and that's a 550,000 pound crane. And you can kind of see the cradle that it was sitting on, and that's kind of what it was perched on the other side from where it was sitting on the ground. Again, very precarious situation. That thing could have let go, and luckily it did not. It stayed very stable once we got it stabilized. Now, I can tell you, as we cut away certain parts of the guardrail in the car, it did settle about 2 inches. But we were still able to get the gentleman out of there. Again, it was a very dangerous situation that we were looking at on Saturday.
Chief, where did the cranes come from?
So Austin area, the card I got from the gentleman that brought them, and we're operating them, said they were based in Leander.
So how does that happen? I mean, somebody picks up the phone.
So obviously we had been in contact with the shipper or the hauler, and they're the ones that made the contact with them, and they're responsible for the cost of all of that. So the city's not paying for that, but they got those cranes out there and then did the lift. And I can tell you, once they started doing the lift, once they were all hooked up, and you can see here they were hooked up, it took them number one, it took them about 4 hours to get there, just to drive up there. Those cranes don't move fast. They run about 40 miles an hour. You've probably been behind one on the highway. They are very slow because they are monstrous and heavy. Once they get there, it takes them about 3 to 4 hours to set up. They have to, number one, get set up, and then they have to put counterweights on it. And so one side, the biggest crane, I think, had 8 tractor trailers to go with it, with the extra equipment that they needed. And then the other side had 6. So, this is quite the convoy coming up here. Anyway, and they also went out, and you can see this is one of the outriggers for the big crane. They all both went guardrail to guardrail. So that's how much room they took up. They took up every bit of space that was on that highway. So anyway, lifted that up off of there. And once that was off there, we did remove the 2 remaining victims out of the vehicle that night. And so we finally were able to get the last victims out about 3:30 that morning. So very long scene for us. I think it started about 11:20, 11:30. And fire finally finished their part of it, like I said, about 3:30 that morning. PD was there for several more days helping out with the traffic and the other things. So I think we finally cleared and the highway opened, what was it, Tuesday?
I've lost track of my days. It
Yeah.
was Monday or Tuesday I think it was Monday night about 7:30.
Okay. But anyway, like I said, just I wanted to bring this up today. Number one, a lot of folks have questions about it, and obviously probably will have going in the future. But I wanted you guys to understand and appreciate what the Temple public safety staff did. I said police, fire, EMS, what the Baylor Scott and White emergency room and surgery folks did. And then also about our tow truck drivers. Just everybody was fantastic that night. Not one crossword, no arguments, no nothing. If we said we needed it, we got it. And that's the way these things should work. So it was a true testament to the training, the equipment, and the dedication of our staff and our departments. So.
Can I say a couple things? I got the email, that there was this accident out there. We all got, we all get those. And then later that afternoon, I was just driving out to our place out near the lake. Not even thinking about that email I received. And as I came up over the hill there at the airport and dropped down toward the Cloverleaf there at 317, that's when I saw it. And there were lights everywhere. And, that's sort of when the gravity. I didn't go up there to look out. I figured it was clear, right? We read those all the time. So I wasn't out there, as my dad would say, just rubbernecking. I was out there I was on my way. And Chief, to come over that hill and to see all that stuff out there that we as a council approve, right? And these men control, to see that, it really makes me proud of these guys and what they do and what staff does to figure out how to pay for that stuff. And then, and we're the final vote, but we're not the experts, right? And for us to know that each one of us had, everybody in this room played a small part in that. And it was so impressive, and I was so proud. And then, just to see that, and it just stayed on my mind. Now on the way back, I thought I'm gonna have that stuff clear. Nope. On the way back, it was still blocked. And as the way I came back through, I came through the 317 Cloverleaf right as those cranes were rolling in.
Oh.
And those things, I don't think you understand to think that one piece of machinery needs 8 semis to equip it to pick up that, and that the assets that we have available at the city of Temple and other places are just amazing. But I don't think, having seen that whole scene, it makes me proud of y'all, and it makes me proud of you guys that figure out the budget for all of that. And one thing that I always say whenever I speak at fire stuff or at PD stuff is, as long as I'm mayor, our people will never be under-equipped, right? They're gonna have what they need, and every once in a while they dust it off and they go use them, right? But when they do, it makes a huge difference. I mean, it made a huge difference at my family's house, right? Just the stuff you set up in the front yard. And then to come over that hill and see all those emergency lights and all of our people that were out there for days. And there was one man alive in that truck. And our firefighters worked trying to get that guy out with 2 dead bodies right next to him. And what a gruesome scene that was, right? I can only imagine. So, this is why we have these guys. This is why we spend so much money on these guys, is because they do it and they do it right. And so thank you for everything.
Welcome, Mayor.
And and I know I'm the one speaking, but I know every council member here feels the same way. And please pass that on to your ladies and gentlemen in that department.
More so after seeing all those guys standing under that.
Oh,
hose.
under.
And they're standing there knowing, like you said, all those things do is give us 10 more seconds. And the way that was angled, that's just 10 more seconds to live, because it's still gonna catch you. right?
Yes, because they're on a hill.
If those things break loose. And I think you need to say something about the man trapped in the car and what the Scott and White surgeons were wanting to do.
So the surgery team was there because they were going to, they wanted it, well, we thought we might have to amputate maybe part of his legs or what have you, to get him out, just because of how bad the crush of the vehicle was and our ability to access, and whether or not we were going to be able to control that load. We just did not know. And so at one point there was that discussion. I took a look at it, consulted with Kirby Bush, which is my assistant chief and my operation chief. He is the person that is the most trained in that. He has been to a significant amount of schooling over the last 8 or 10 years to be trained on that. We talked about it and we really felt we could get him out of there. So I talked with Dr. McGraw and the surgeons, and I asked him just to give us more time. Said if he's okay and if he can take it, we can get him out. And
But that's 30 more minutes of your guy standing on the wrong side of that pipe. Yeah.
Were the 2 people that are deceased, did they die right away?
It's really hard to
We
say.
don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I believe so, but
I just want to remind everybody this is still a.
Yeah.
And it's being. Pardon, it's also a public meeting?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
But
sorry.
just from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes.
Thank y'all, because we look at a lot of spreadsheets and we approve a lot of numbers, but you guys work with the lives, and just thank y'all.
And we don't ever look at anything like this.
well, and we obviously want to thank you for supporting our training and supporting this equipment. I know a lot of times we talk about this type of stuff and where we're going to need it, and it's hard to sometimes visualize where it's going to come into play. But that was definitely the day it did. 8 to 10 years ago, we couldn't have done this. Literally, both equipment wise and training wise, we couldn't have done it. So, all right, so move past Saturday. Well, now we're to Sunday. So let's do some flooding. So we went straight from that scene to flood scenes. We actually did 3 water rescues on Sunday. So this gentleman, of course, this is down on Charter Oak. This gentleman drove in. He did self-rescue and walk out.
Every flood, there's
that
somebody there.
Yes, sir.
Everyone.
Absolutely. This one here is on Poison Oak. He is probably the best prepared person I've ever seen that drove into a floodwaters. When we actually walked out to him and got him out of the car and brought him over to safety, he had his swimsuit on. So we were quite impressed by that. So he was ready for it. And then this one here was later that night. Over here, just east of town, out behind Wards, there's a creek that runs through there. This one was flooding, and that is a Bell County truck, by the way. And he was out. His job was to go out and put up barricades to block flooded roads that night.
Nice.
And then, of course, that's our rescue boat that we've got, and we did use that. These 2 were able to just walk out. This gentleman, we did have to go get in the boat. This creek was flowing very hard and very swiftly, and so again, we had to go get him from in the boat and bring him back up to safety. So. All right, so kind of a lighter note or a better note. So our Temple Fire Rescue Rescue Elves program, we are going to start fundraising earlier this year. This is a great program. I love talking about it, and I talk about it every year. Marketing has partnered with us real heavy this year to try to work on a couple of extra fundraisers for us. Our hope is to get 100 families served with this program. We were able to serve about 80 last year and a little bit over 250 kids. But these are, we really focus on the kids that are in both Belton and Temple schools that literally are going to get nothing for Christmas if we don't do this. And most of the gifts that we buy for them is clothing. And you can't see very well in the baskets, but there's a lot of clothing, a lot of socks, a lot of underwear, a lot of shoes, jeans, and those types of things that we buy for them. It's just, reading through some of the requests and stuff, it's pretty just wrenches at your heart to know that a lot of these kids just don't have the basics that they need to go to school or just for everyday wear. And so it really is a great thing for us to be able to provide that for us. So again, you're going to see some Rescue Elf stuff early this year. If you get a chance to come out and participate, we'd love to have you there. Next up is our Junior Fire Cadets program. Just want to touch about it. We do it every June. We did open up a registration the first Monday in April, and we had 140 seats available, and we filled those in 4 hours. And we also have a waiting list for each session. We do 2 2-week sessions. We've got about 10 folks waiting on each one of those. And so, again, a great program. The parents love it. The kids love it. And it's always a really good time. The firefighters love it as well. Kids get to do a bunch of different things that they typically wouldn't get to do and experience a lot of different things. And it's just a really good program. We will be doing the graduation for that on June 28th up at Mayborn. And so I know Mayor's going to come and speak again this year. But if you get a chance to come up there and see the kids when they graduate, it's always a great time. And we appreciate the support on it as well. And that's it. And that's just another picture. So this is the Mars Fire again, just if you're curious. That's we had 2 ladder trucks out there.
And that's a drone?
That's the drone flying up over it.
Smell good, didn't it?
Yeah, no.
Council, anything for Chief?
Nope.
Thanks again. All right, well, we were scheduled for executive session. We obviously don't have time for that. So we will push that to next time. And so I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 4:48 and see